Insecurity in Nigeria's oil-producing Niger Delta region has long dominated American concerns about the stability of the West African nation. But now the emergence of the militant group Boko Haram in the predominantly Muslim north is sparking even more concern here in Washington. VOA's Paul Ndiho has more.
Since 2009, the Islamist sect known as Boko Haram has escalated its attacks across Nigeria, targeting the country's security forces, politicians and civilians, both Muslims and Christians. Initially, Boko Haram was not taken seriously by some in the international community, even though the US intelligence and the United Nations confirmed their links to al-Qaeda. When Boko Haram bombed the United Nations headquarters in Abuja last August, Washington began to pay more attention to this emerging threat to the US national security. In November 2011, the Subcommittee on Counterterrorism and Intelligence of the House of Homeland Security Committee, chaired by Congressman Patrick Meehan, released a report on Boko Haram's threat to America.
Boko Haram's repeated displays of brutality, their intent to commit terror attacks against an expanding list of targets, and their expanding relationship with al-Qaeda affiliates, all in a country of strategic significance to the United States, is an enormous counterterrorism and intelligence challenge.
Meehan says Boko Haram has evolved from a locally focused group with machetes to a transitional and transnational organization capable of conducting coordinated truck bombings against Western targets.
Their ambition, body counts, and targets continue to expand, and I'm deeply concerned that Boko Haram may be targeting American interests in Nigeria at some time in the future.
Over the last 3 years, areas in northern Nigeria have endured sustained attacks by Boko Haram, prompting the government to deploy its military and institute curfews. Both critics and sympathizers have accused the Nigerian government of not doing enough to halt the violence and initiate a development strategy for the region. Ricardo René Leamont, a professor of political science and sociology at the State University of New York, Binghamton, believes that the government needs to do more for the people in the north.
But the problem is the north doesn't have any development whatsoever, either educationally and because of lack of an access to an electrical grid. When I was spending time in Kano, the national power company is called NEPA, right? The Northern Electric Power Administration, locally known as No Electric Power Anytime. Okay. There are parts of Nigeria in particular that have made considerable progress over the last 10 years, but the North has not been part of that.
Some analysts say the bombing campaign has raised fears that Boko Haram is trying to ignite a sectarian conflict in Nigeria, which is evenly divided between Christians and Muslims. Elders from Nigeria's north met in Abuja earlier this month to discuss the regional insecurity that has claimed hundreds of lives and destroyed property worth millions of dollars. Paul Ndiho, VOA News.